1-14A. This involves the land purchase along Route 49. We've already had the first public hearing as required by statute. And at 3:03, we will open the public hearing.
Everybody know what this is about? Yes, no?
I do.
Okay.
All for it.
All right. Well, just to let the public at home know, Buck, if you're watching. It's about buying 3 small parcels of land that were omitted from the warrant, and the purchase price is $1. It's in order to just clean up some bookkeeping.
Yeah, the size of the parcels of land is 0.18 acres, 0.05 acres, and 0.1 acres.
Yep. All right. So are there any, now that since we've described it, any more comments? All right. I will close the hearing at 3:04. And are we ready to vote on this?
No, we'll put it on the next meeting.
Next meeting.
Next meeting.
Okay. Great. So we've completed that. Now what we'll do is we'll go to privilege of the floor. And what I'll do is, instead of privilege of the floor, what I will do is, if you are on the agenda and you are sitting out there, because it is a nice day with something we haven't seen in quite a while. And what we'll do is, if you're on the agenda, if you'd like to do privilege of the floor now, please raise your hand and be recognized. Tom?
Yes, and Wendy, we're just wondering if we could move naming of walking trail around Corcoran's Pond from new business 8C up to the privilege of the floor. That would be most excellent.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Excellent. So as you know, the town core has moved on to a new project, which we have designated the walking path that starts in town square and moves along the pond, and it's going to go up to 49 across the bridge and then around, reconnecting the path in front of the arbor, and then travel around the rest of the pond back into the town square and also along Snow's Brook path. And so we discussed names, not in great depth. And we put together a whole list. And with the recent passing of our first chief of police, our first fire chief, and our first town manager, who was also an avid hiker, and who spent an awful lot of his free time getting trails in order and cleaned for the summer, fall hiking season. Several of us think it was appropriate to call the trail Levitt's Loop.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. Rich? All right.
If you just want to vote to do that, we will
All right.
move forward when the trail
Is
is
there
built.
someone at the board willing to make that motion?
I so move.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Awesome. All right, I love these. This is almost like the old ZBA.
All right.
You know,
Of course, you were leading it.
I was leading it, and it was quick.
All right, anyone else privileged before? I see Tom sitting there. John, what do you do?
Let's give John some respect.
John Racine, just for the record. As a concerned contractor, I was wondering, this might be a question for Mark. What's the story on the gate and getting in there, and it's all changed? Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
It's a work in progress. We're trying to figure out, if you read our minutes from the last meeting or watch the last meeting, we have a discussion based on our staffing situation at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yep.
That we're going to reorganize, and we will definitely notify everyone where we wind up with this.
Okay,
But we can't continue to function the way we are with the open gate policy.
understood that, but we used to go to the water department, and the gate was always locked, and they'd go there and get the key.
That's the point we're trying to make, John. We don't have the staff right now, whether there's no one at the water department consistently.
Okay,
So we're trying to post hours and create coordination, and we might even hire a part-time person to be in charge of that.
okay, so until that happens, where do I go?
Here.
Yeah.
Here to
see
town hall.
Nick?
Isn't
Get the
there a
key
sign
from there.
posted, come here?
There is.
There's a sign posted.
There's a sign posted, 2 signs posted actually on
Right.
the gates.
Right, but it's always, okay. Understood.
Do you have any feedback or suggestion on that?
No, but I think, my feedback on that is you probably lose a lot of money on construction waste. That it should be open all the time for a contractor.
One of the problems we've noticed is that if it's not supervised properly,
Yes,
we're losing money and man hours and backs
Yeah.
by people having to move construction waste to the appropriate places. Like you're a contractor, you live here, you respect what we do and all of that. We
Yes.
have a lot of contractors that just get beyond the gate and just dump.
yeah.
We're having the same issue with contractors who decide cut up carpet pieces, we'll fit in these dumpsters down here very well too.
Understood, yeah.
So we're working to revamp this whole thing to make it more efficient and user-friendly to everyone.
Okay.
Mark, I had a question. Did we change our policy about lawn debris, branches, grass? Aren't those things free?
They are free, but we're tracking who's bringing in what, so
Okay.
that we know the volume wise, where it's coming from. So there's still a compost pile up there, there's still a burn pile up there.
Okay,
Those are not being charged,
right,
but we're writing it down.
okay.
Whereas before, we had no idea.
Okay, I'll let Tim know, because Tim thinks it's being charged now.
They're being, I don't think.
Compost discharge,
Or compost.
'Cause that needs to be
I'm
hauled
sorry,
away.
The,
but
the
limbs,
branch-
tree
the
limbs,
the
branches
burn
that can be
pile.
burned is not charged,
right.
but we're tracking,
But like grass and leaves,
that goes into the
Goes in the
compost.
that goes in the compost pile.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll tell Tim.
And, excuse me, is there, one more question, is there somebody in charge to make the call to empty that dumpster, contractor's dumpster?
Sitting there behind you.
Oh, he calls, does he know when to call? Okay,
Well,
However,
maybe not according
I
to-
might help him out a little.
I can call, but it may be 2 or 3 days, depending upon their schedule.
Is that something you always have done though, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Thanks for the feedback, John.
Thanks, John.
thank you.
And let any other contractors you know if they have any questions, concerns, let Mark or Jim know if it's working or not working. We want to make it easy for everybody, but
Sure,
what happens is it's the person who's not used to our system who comes in.
sure,
Right, Mark?
sure, no, I think you're on the right track.
Thanks. All right, then we will move on to the fun part. Every week, the approval of the minutes.
When did you do
Let's see
this?
who's got what.
I got some.
They're doing
It's
the
not till
minutes,
line 113.
so you're gonna have to put on this one, and I do it in pink,
All right. You
so
got-
just do
He
this.
always does.
What can I say?
All right.
I don't believe that I was on speakerphone.
It's true, you were here in
You
person
were
that
here in
day.
person.
Okay.
Maybe it felt like it.
Nice catch.
You're just phoning it in.
Phoning it in. Yeah.
I had a question on 46. And I don't know what it is.
I've got 40 while you're trying to.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Said it was closed during New Hampshire vacation week, were we? Closed during
The rec-
New
The
Hampshire,
recreation department.
was it?
Mhm.
Every
It
year.
always is.
Yeah. So what do you have on 40?
40, it is the various parts of the cash available. Do you mean cash available in various accounts? I wasn't quite
Yes.
sure with that.
In all of the
Right.
cash accounts, yes.
I was just a little confused.
What,
It was
Yes.
line 40. Items reviewed include the various parts of the cash available. Various accounts?
include the total of the various cash accounts
Okay,
and cash on
Yeah.
hand available.
right.
So we'll figure out a better way to say it.
Very
Okay.
good, thank you.
I'm going to withdraw my complaint on 46 because I can't see it right
Okay, I'm at 58.
now. Now I got 53. What I'd like 50, on line 53, there were 3 trees removed which were leaning dangerously. You should address where those trees were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Valley Road and Snows Road.
Right.
Okay.
Especially the big stump. Like.
Mhm.
All right, so we have that. Now, where are you going next, Rich?
58.
Okay.
Just remove has since Paul passed. And on 59, to the governor, Sununu, just get rid of the dot in front of governor.
Hey, Margaret? Okay.
113.
I have 113 as
I have 113 as well, but I'll go with 73.
well. All right.
73, I think you mean skateboard park,
Yes,
Yeah.
skateboard
Park.
park.
and 83, 84. And the rate is 3.29%, I think is what we mean to say. And we all have 113, so I just didn't know what it meant.
Can I just add one thing
Oh,
on,
sure.
on 84 is the interest cost of the ban.
No, that was the other one, right. But yeah, that's enough change.
On 112 should it be locations instead of location? Yes, locations it is because we had multiple weeks.
Yes.
Okay, everyone had 113.
13.
Because we didn't understand the
Stand.
sentence. The issue was identified because the volume of treated wastewater was in excess of the water being treated.
Okay, the volume
Water
of
being
the wastewater
produced.
being collected is in excess of the drinking water being produced.
Created.
Created.
So it's the drinking is the,
Yes, it's drinking.
is the one that.
That's,
Well, wouldn't you just change treated to created?
well, I think you
Should
should,
produce?
the second water should be drinking water
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
being,
Created
yeah.
or treated.
Yeah. Okay, Rich, what do you got next?
Just 156.
Well, I'm gonna go into 150, and I want some language added to 150, just to speak to what John was saying. The long-term solution, hire part-time, monitor the transfer station, very modified, utilize that for other works department, and then monitor dumping, video cameras and signage. We'll also
Yes,
discuss.
we are, yep, yep, and I am working on that with
Yeah.
Dave. Yep. Actually, the cameras.
All right, what's your next one?
156.
I've got it 1 instead of 1.
That's it.
Find it. And I have 187. And it's just, starts additionally, Joe Ducharme was almost finished with design work for pricing on the extension for the connection to the well. Which well?
Well,
To
building,
the,
well,
to
building.
the water
Right.
treatment building in the future, or well four
Well
building.
That's what I was wondering,
building.
it wasn't well 3.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Well, for
Judy, you got that? Nope.
Good. Precision.
And that's it for me. All right, I will make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Can we do both next, please?
I just wanted to introduce Eric Amaro. He started here as our new Parks and Adventure Programs Manager, so I just wanted to meet you, Margaret, Mike, and Rich.
Hi, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
why don't you tell us about yourself for a minute?
Well, I actually grew up in Sin Harbor and went to high school in Meredith. And so it's kind of coming back full circle. So bringing my wife and 2 little boys up to, we're going to be moving to New Hampton pretty soon. So yeah, in backgrounds in outdoor education, we're travel bound, program companies like that.
What about marketing?
For all those programs, different types of marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a real strong component of what we want to do. We want to get the word out as to who we are, what we are, and get people to respond to that message.
Yeah, I will say I wasn't, that's not my expertise.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I was in charge of, but certainly worked hand in hand for sure.
Working together on that.
Cool, well, welcome.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here.
Great.
Thanks.
So he's gonna head back to the rec now, so I just wanted to introduce him quickly.
Thanks
Okay.
Eric.
Let's go to financial. Anybody have anything financial? No, I didn't either. It was pretty
Yeah.
straightforward. Great. And so we'll start with recreation.
Well, that's Eric. I'm glad you got to meet him. That he started last Tuesday.
Tuesday.
A week ago Tuesday. So he's just getting a lot of information and, and been able to meet a lot of people. He was with us at the cleanup, which was very successful once again. We had a great turnout for the cleanup. And thank you to so many people who were involved with that. That Hacienda and Roper Real Estate sponsored it with food and flower bulbs and water. And then just tons of community members came out. It's actually the one event a year that I think we see are the most diverse community gathering, from the school to the mountain to the community people that live here year round. There's just a lot of people involved, so it was great.
Brooke, a quick question on
Yeah.
that. I may have a faulty memory, but I thought in the previous year, perhaps, that the kids from the school participated in it.
They do participate. The way we do that is we have everyone meet there at 11 and we brief the adults. Some of the content that Chief Noyes goes over with the adults is different than the content
Right.
we go over with the kids.
Right.
So then immediately after you all leave at 11, the kids come in at 11:15 and are given a slightly different safety
Okay,
speech
all right,
from
that's why I didn't see
Chief
it.
Noyes,
Okay,
and then they go out on their same route that they always do, which is kind of closer to home
Right.
base.
round
And then they join us for the food, which I think, did you see them come in
Yep.
at the end with the food?
Yep, I
So
did
that's
see
why
that.
you didn't see them in the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
And that was a great event for them as well.
Good.
Let's see, still hiring people. I've hired a seasonal maintenance person as well as another counselor. We're still, the only position we're looking to hire for still is one camp counselor. And
Is this because of all the kids moved up, or approximately the same age or have moved on?
well, no, we have a lot of returning staff, but I got a couple of late notices of people deciding to do something else. So Jordan Landa got a different counseling position closer to something science-based down in Massachusetts. So there were just a couple changes that happened kind of last minute that created these openings. So, but I have confidence that we will get someone good in that place. We are working on our patch design, our hiking patch design right now with Annie Schwartz, actually doing the design of the patch. And this will, the preliminary idea is to have it be 102 trail miles in Waterville Valley. It's called redlining, which means you just cover all those miles to 102. So hopefully it would integrate that number within the patch. I know I've shared it with Dan Newton. He's going to bring it to the AIA meeting on Saturday to kind of get their input and see what they think of that idea. But I have talked to several people who seem to like it, and we're hopefully going forward with that. Otherwise, there's just a ton going on for me over at the rec department. So if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer that.
Did we have any significant revenue from the climbing wall once it was back in order?
The climbing wall is still not.
Oh, it's not back in order yet.
No. What we have to do every year is we have to take down.
Right, you send the things out.
Send them to Colorado,
Yes.
have them certify them, send them back. I still haven't received them back. I'm hoping to have them up by June 1st.
How much are they, a unit?
The cost of the unit?
Yeah.
I believe they were $2,000.
Like each belt is $2,000?
Mhm.
Some idea about getting it back up.
No.
Rotators.
No, seeing how that's about our
No.
annual income.
Yeah,
$1,000 a belt?
You know what, I did analyze though what the cost is that we've been getting in May every year, and it's so minimal that we're really not losing out
Okay.
on much of the
Yeah.
revenue during
I'm
the
just
day.
wondering on people that were here with nothing to do,
Right,
the more stuff we can give them to do.
absolutely. And we are trying to offer open gyms. So for example, this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, we are obviously not doing the fishing derby, which is our traditional huge event. We're gonna have more hours at the rec department open for open gyms, open basketball, as well as ice cream social on Sunday night. And so we're trying to do some other things, but yeah, it's gonna feel different without the opening the boats and having Memorial at the fishing derby. So anyway. Anything else?
No, Chris, what's going on?
Well, the services for Paul Levitt went very well represented by our department. Jeff has concluded his EMT class he was offering in town. He had ended up with 4 students. 2 of them have already passed their EMT test, and 2 are coming up to take it. They're all doing very well. Logan Tomasetti, I don't know if you met him, he's a part-timer. He graduated, what's that?
I think he's been,
Looks like he's like 15.
yes, he actually asked you if he asked you if he was 12.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
no, I'm not trying to be polite and not say that, because I respect what he's done in your position.
No,
He graduated last week from the police academy, so he's all certified. We're still doing maintenance. We had our third hazard mitigation meeting this morning, and that's going along well. Our next meeting is June 26th, I believe.
Yeah.
So we will post that again. We're not having the turnout that we had hoped. It is a little dry, but any input from the public, like I say, I don't mind her meetings because she runs a really
Tight
good
ship.
meeting, tight ship.
And she stops when she
Yeah,
promises
she
to
says
stop.
2 hours max. It was 11 o'clock. I said, all right, I'm done.
And that was it. We walked away.
Would it help our cause if we were to really want to stress them? If we feel there's a necessity for Triple I Road to be a full-time,
That's our focus.
but would it help us more if we had more people at these meetings representing that view to this woman? Or not?
No, because she doesn't make those decisions,
Okay.
and she actually understands our need.
Yeah.
What we need is Forest Service to attend these meetings, and they've been invited, and
No. coming.
they've not come yet. They have RSVP'd though,
Yeah.
saying we can't make it, and we still have probably 3 or 4 meetings left that we hope that they come to. They did come to the last ones we had 5 years ago, and it's a constant battle. But they do show some interest. There's representatives from the state there, the Homeland Security, State Homeland Security office is here. We've got a couple leads on some grant money from them through this exercise. So it's going well, and I would encourage, if you can get word out to get people at these meetings, if you meet anybody from town.
How about if we do a big push towards it? Maybe, when's the next one?
The 26th of June.
We don't have a water bill or a tax bill going on. Do we?
We can't put it in the tax bill.
Why?
We're not allowed to put any other.
I'm just thinking of something that would catch people's eye and they would see. Yeah, the wigwag would be fine, but it's just, it's gonna be the same people.
Yeah.
Always. I'm just thinking what we could catch with other people, a way to talk to people about this. Maybe a blog mark.
On June 26th, we're gonna be setting the next 2 meetings. And we can put that in the water bill in July.
Okay, I'd just like to get some people
Yeah.
who might really have some ideas of this stuff, make them aware, because you're right, it's a very dry subject.
It's very dry, but as an observer, I can see how it might, just going to one meeting might be
Just interesting to see the
interesting enough to,
process.
just to see what we're doing. It's an important document, and it qualifies us for grants. So it's, we're looking at it, the same people are looking at it every time it's updated. So a different set of eyes on it, things that we may not even be thinking of. Although June does a great job in bringing this stuff up. But it's well worth even if somebody just drops in for 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah. Remind
sign
me
in.
next time.
The more
Yeah, we'll send it out.
the more
Before the
participation we get, the less the town has to pay. Because we get credit for the people that show up. We actually get in-kind
Oh, right.
grant match for everyone that shows
Oh, well,
up.
that's another thing to highlight then.
Yeah, how about a buffet?
Get it out to the girls' night out.
Yeah, no, I think,
They're meeting tonight, so, yeah.
Is there a draft document to read?
We have the old one, the old plan.
She doesn't do, she basically is straight up updating the old plan, which we can share with you.
it's not too exciting, but it does make you think about potential hazards and how to prevent them. That's about it.
Okay.
What about the, like,
Is that a separate item, Mark? Okay, so, all the employees at the mountain are on a retreat right now, so there's nothing being done. I talked to Dave Dean and he responded with an email and an update as to their overall plan for bike paths in town. We talked to Terry Waite, as the planning board chairman about what they were doing over there. So historically, that has always been, not always been, but it was at one point a pump track. So Terry said as long as they're resurrecting the pump track that was already approved way back when, it's fine as long as they stay in the same footprint. Looks like they're going over the old footprint, so we have to address that when everybody comes back. But they haven't done any additional work other than stockpiling fill.
And it appeared from what they sent us, Chris, that some of the material that they're stockpiling is gonna be used just to repair or create new bike paths
Right,
in
And-
addition to the pump track.
correct.
So the bike paths that they're describing in this plan that they gave us aren't really a single commercial entity. People are gonna be able to just ride on it.
So like Nelson's Way,
Yeah.
they're gonna dress that up so it's more
Right.
friendly for a beginner cyclist.
Get rid of the roots.
Get rid of the roots, the rocks, and overlay it with some of that material that they have.
And so a lot of that material won't be used in the pump track itself. It's gonna be just spread all over. So, yeah, from what I saw, as long as they don't violate the existing footprint of the pump track, they should be okay.
And-
is there
Permit wise.
anything, is there anything, and this is the question that was raised to me.
Terry.
Is there anything that prevents people from moving dirt around on their lane?
Well, there is a contour provision in the conservation.
Right, but it's a very large amount of earth disturbance.
The short answer
So the
would be
short
no.
answer is no. A
Right.
minor moving, but it doesn't matter how much they're moving, if it's a new commercial entity, then they have to get that permit,
Okay.
okay? But again, just a generic bike path isn't really a new commercial, but if they,
Or just
Open
putting
the-
fill where they
or
put
just
it.
putting fill where they had it before is not a new commercial entity. So that's not a permitted
The
use.
buzzwords, and I'm sure Mark will share it with you, the report that
Right.
they sent
Yep.
us.
Yep.
The buzzwords they said were enhancing safety, cleaning up the trails to make them more friendly for beginner cyclists. And defining the trails more.
And they didn't indicate in that plan that these were new commercial fee trails.
Right.
That this was
It's all
just gonna be something anybody can access. So as long as that's the case, there's no permitting required.
The biggest obstacle that we have overcome is getting information from them. I mean, just today, like 2
Like
hours
literally
ago,
2 hours.
we got the email.
Yeah, because, I did speak with Tim at your party, just briefly. And he said to me, oh, Dave was in and talked to, I don't know who he talked to some time
He
ago.
talked to
about-
both
me,
of us.
Me and Mark.
Talk to
Right.
both.
So there was a little disconnect in the fall. Dave came in and said, hey, this is what we envision on doing. We want to make these trails more definitive and make them safer and, et cetera, et cetera. And Mark and I said, well, that's a good idea. So I had to explain to Dave that support and approval were two separate things. Yes, we'll support this concept of making things safer and more user-friendly, but he kind of looked at it as, okay, I'm good to go, it's an approval.
Yeah, so,
So-
and the other thing, like, we
But
asked him a
as we
series of.
just discussed, he really didn't need any approvals for this, did he? Because there was already an approval on, for, okay,
The
That's what I was
backstory is he didn't know that he didn't need an approval. Because
What we told-
they didn't realize there was a pump track there
Ah.
beforehand. So,
and it's because it's a commercial entity that you need an approval, but he did not know that an approval already existed. Okay, I got it now.
And when he came in the fall, he said, you know, I've got these 5 or 6 different things that we want to do. I don't know if any of them are going to be built or if they're going to be built 3 years from now or whatever. And we said, okay, come back in when you know more and give us more info. It was all conceptual that he talked to us in the fall, nothing specific.
All right, let's move on from that one.
so, to end this conversation, we are certainly going to monitor.
Yeah.
Well, I guess is there a way that you want us to handle it differently? I mean, this is not a planning board issue, this is a select.
But we don't know if there's a real issue. There's an issue of the lack of communication between the mountain and us. And I think we talked about
busted
how and who we need to talk to
And I
about
think we
getting
have,
that communication going.
yes, because I did what you had
Yeah.
recommended.
Yeah.
And I got a call from Tim Smith, he got a call from Dave Dean,
Yeah.
and we just received this written plan.
And they're
So I
gonna give
think
us an
we-
update on June 7th.
That's correct, so they're every week or two.
Yeah, no,
giving us
we need to know what they're doing.
So
Okay.
with these reports or these things they wanna do, we will in turn give feedback.
Right.
You need a building permit for this, you need
Exactly.
site plan
plan.
review for this. This seems to be good to go, we can solve with the planning board, things like that.
Well, that's the reason I brought it up in the meeting, so that it would be publicly
No, I'm glad you did
Yeah,
because,
discussed.
I'm glad you did.
Because I don't know what all the ins and outs of the rules are, and I told him that,
Mhm.
you know, but I also encouraged him to
And we,
improve the
and
communication.
we stress that we're on their team, we want this
Right.
place to, I mean, we need to make progress. but
Right.
It's just one of the, like when Margaret asks a question, I'm like, I have no
Yeah.
idea. That's what we get stuck with, and that's not good.
All right.
Okay.
Jim,
Yes,
what's going on?
well, it's exciting news, no garbage truck is in town.
Where is it?
It's down in the barn here,
No,
and we have to have a two-way radio installed so that we can take it to the landfill. And we're swapping out the front tires because, just because they're the wrong size.
with what? What tires? are
They're
you gonna
too
buy?
They're wide, and we don't want the wide ones, we want them to match
Is
the
the dealer,
back
is the
ones.
dealer giving us the
Yes.
tires?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, tires and rims.
just wanted to make sure we weren't taking off the old truck.
No. So, I expect sometime next week that we'll start using it.
Okay,
And then we are hopefully listing our old truck with this same guy that got us new trucks.
Yeah.
He's gonna get back to us and give us some feedback on what we can maybe expect.
or what we can do to maybe enhance its value for short-funded.
So,
Okay.
so that's good. Other than that, just us, things are starting to dry out and we're starting to be able to get out. We've completed the cemetery, that's looking pretty nice. And we're picking up brush as we go and we'll try to get things up top, cleaned up. Just busy spring stuff.
Well, why don't we stick with Jim for a while and clear up some of his stuff? Let's talk about road repair projects.
Yeah, I've identified several places, and a lot of them are intersections, and a lot of them are ones that I know people were concerned because of the potholes over the winter time. So I went and I spoke with Dana White and asked him to give me some pricing on what it would take to cut, say, a 8-foot wide by 24-foot long section of road out, replace it and repave it. That would run somewhere around $3,000. to do each one of the intersections. So I got in touch with this guy that works for, that's a rep for a company that does infrared patching. I
Right.
think I may have mentioned it to you before. And they're slightly cheaper.
Right.
And I think that it would probably be a good investment because I think it'll give us a better, instead of just like a trench, it actually looks like it belongs there. You see it. So I think that might be a little bit better.
What kind of warranty does this company offer?
A 1 year, like most construction companies.
I think it's worth a try.
I think it's worth a try, but I was just wondering if this was such a great technology, they're gonna guarantee it through 3 or 4 frost seasons.
That's kind of
No,
tough.
no, I was just wondering.
And of course, we can't expect that this is the long-term solution, because this is the Band-Aid to help save that section of each
All right,
one
well,
of these sections.
I kind of agree with Margaret, Rich. Let's give it a try.
And also, we'd like to replace the guardrail.
Yeah, I saw this kind of came out of the blue, like, this is the first discussion we've had on guardrails, or that I've been conscious of, came in this package, am I correct with that? Or should I miss?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
no, I hadn't seen it before.
Okay, Rich? No. Okay.
we usually just replace guardrails bits and pieces at a time.
Right.
This is enough that I wanted to bring it to you and let you know that, but this is money that in the past, we have spent 1,000 or 2,000 at a time and done sections. Now Jim has gone out and gotten, a pretty substantial replacement around the West Branch Bridge.
Yeah.
And that's at $6,600. I just wanted to make you aware of it.
Okay.
Unless you have
just
an
so-
issue with it.
Yeah, just so you know, I mean, we are planning,
Okay, so we're not planning on doing the Snowsboro for 15,000.
no,
No.
Oh, okay.
because that would be included in the project,
Right.
the intersection out and around.
Right.
That's what I was wondering.
No,
Yeah, I was
no,
confused.
it's the 6620,
Okay.
just this part of it.
No, okay.
And that's why I put it in the
West Branch
table.
Bridge and the Walk Bridge.
Now, I've got a question. That 100 feet of guardrail with posts for the walk bridge, is only, what, 5 or 6 years old?
No, not the walk bridge, he just said that, it's the guardrail beside the walk bridge that goes down to the bridge. The metal
Oh,
guardrail.
guard-
Okay. Yeah,
It's not the wooden piece.
okay, that
No.
confused me, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it.
And then, the third item was, Triple I Road from, the bridge at Depot Camp, the Livermore Road, whatever you wanna call it, to the intersection of Ski Area Road. There is edge cracking there. And, I'm quite concerned because that is just a single course of asphalt. So what I'd like to do is, crack seal it, route it and crack seal it, and try to get ourselves a couple of years until we're in a position where we put a top coat in that
And
road.
this is the 3950?
Yes.
And is this that new technology?
No,
No,
This
it's
is-
regular cracks.
regular crack sealing that you see on the highways.
It's like a liquefied.
Yeah, it looks like someone poured that black liquid.
Yeah.
That other company with the new technology doesn't do this?
Yes, same company.
They're the ones who
Oh,
will be
okay.
doing it, but they won't be using the infrared.
That's why I got confused with this. Okay. So what's the total you want to spend here?
In your packet, item 8D, it's $32,470.
And where's that coming from?
That comes from the road repair account. We have $41,000.
And that's our that's our basic road repair, not our non-emergency road repair, correct? Or all of our road repair?
Is that
That's
in our capital?
That's our capital plan.
Right.
That would be emergency and items like this, maintenance items like this.
The question I'm asking, with this road repair money,
Yes.
It leaves us about 7,500 or so for the rest of the year.
That's-
So that gets us through December with any brakes repairs or anything we have to do. So there's no maintenance or anything that'll be done on, say, Moose Run or any Cascade or any of the other things. So we're electing to spend our money doing this.
That's correct.
As opposed to the other stuff.
Right.
And the other stuff would be significantly more, correct?
Correct. And that's what we're gonna sit down with Rob and
Yeah.
go through the whole town.
No, I just want to clarify
Right, yep,
that this is where we're spending our money as opposed to when someone comes to
for
me
19.
from another street and asking, how come we do this?
That's right.
We spent our money doing this.
That's
Okay. Works for me. Great.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, do we need to vote on this?
Yes, please.
All right, how about a motion?
I move that we accept the proposed quotation from CWS Fence and Guardrail and from North American Infrared to do the repairs that we've discussed, the 4 repairs, yes?
For a total of
For a
32,
total of
470.
32,470. Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
While we, okay.
No, what do you want to segue out into?
I'd like to, Greg Campbell has, in the minutes we just reviewed, we told you that we were having the sewer lines,
Right.
camera shot. We had that work done. And I'd just like to quickly go through, Greg has actually watched the video and there were recommendations. There was a recommendation packet that came from the camera company.
I guess locations is the.
Yeah, there's locations. So I have to say that this is, and Greg agrees, this was the best video that we've ever seen inside the sewer lines. It was very clear, and he was very precise in his measurements.
Yeah.
Greg has gone through and basically they identified for us all of these different sites on Village Road, Newton Peak Road, Valley Road, and Cascade Ridge Road, where we have significant infiltration. Towards the middle right of the page, we're getting approximately 8,000 gallons per day at their estimate, and Greg says that he thinks it's low, of water coming in. And this was, the filming that they did was a couple of days after the heavy rains. So, Greg feels it could be well over 10,000 gallons a day of infiltration, if not more. I mean, there is literally water gushing up through the side of the pipe into the sewer pipe. So they've identified all of these sites. They have estimated repair costs on the far right column. These are not out to bid numbers, but this is based on their knowledge.
And how do they repair this? Does this involve?
Most of the repairs, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but most of the repairs are inside the pipe. They have a material and a sprayer that they will go in that will seal off the pipe. Right. Some of the repairs are joints where the pipe goes into the sidewall of a manhole. And so they will get down in the manhole and seal around those joints where they're coming in. But for the most part, it's interior in the pipe, and they use basically the same machine that has a camera on it, and it just has a spray head, and they seal it off.
And are there specific times of year they have to do this? If they can't do it if the water table is high or things like that?
That I'm not totally sure,
I don't
but
know.
I don't believe so.
I don't believe there's any limitation, other than maybe winter. I don't know that they could do it in cold weather, but they should be able to do it this summer. And what Greg is asking is that we will go out and get hard prices. based on these estimates, but that we commit to doing these particular roads in these places because Greg feels that this is probably the majority of the infiltration that we're getting. Especially during
Yeah, how much do we spend on just the work so far?
Oh, their number was 4,500, I think, for the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just have a question off the top of my head based on simple numbers. Section 9 here on Village Road.
Mhm.
200 gallons per day, spot repair liner, 2,800. 1,000 gallon per day, 2,500.
It all depends on like that 2,800 is coming, could be just one single hole. That's a big hole where there's a lot of water coming in. It says cracks multiple
Yeah.
on the one that's for the 2,800. So there may be a section of pipe that they have to do more
Right.
repairs.
Even though there's less water.
Even though there's less water
Right.
coming in.
Right.
But those smaller cracks are eventually going
Not
to turn
big
into big.
cracks.
And if
It
you
looks
patch the,
like spot repair liners are more expensive than COMH.
Yes.
they want 17,500, is one for
I'd like to commit to between 15 and 20, and like I said, we'll bring back the actual number to you before we do it.
And where would this money come from?
We have two repair accounts. We have the wastewater treatment plant upgrades, which that project is complete, and we have $11,800 remaining in that account. And then we have wastewater repair, that's our emergency repair account. We have $20,850 there. So
Is that
we would be-
wastewater or?
it's wastewater and water.
Okay. So it's combined, so.
Yeah.
But this water account, we're talking about taking the 20, that would be if we broke the water line.
That's correct. Yeah, and usually those repairs are $4,000 or $5,000.
Right, what did we spend, do you know what we spent last year on water line repairs?
$3,000.
Yeah, about 3,000.
And we have 20.
We had one break.
We have 20 left.
One, and the year before we had 2 or 3.
Yeah, but
Two or
so
three.
again, we're 3,000 to 5,000 depending on how much digging they have. So we have enough, if we use the 11,800 first, and we take the balance, whatever the actual number comes out, we would still have 10,000 or more left in the repair account till December. And then we would plus it up like we do at town meeting usually. And it is in the plan to put more money into that account.
And I think if we take these gallons out of our system, using less chemicals. less
That's
wear and
right.
tear, and less
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it, that one. Margaret?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, I said let's put between 10 and 20 away.
Okay, so we will get you the actual number and we'll go between 10 and 20,000. All right. Thank you. Sorry to
No problem.
drop that on you.
Okay, let's see, with Jim's still here, let's talk about the dam. Come along.
The dam, it's still going, there's still confident, I guess would be the word, that they can meet the substantial completion date.
I haven't been over there, the stairs, board and all that stuff.
The,
Towards the end.
that will be towards the end. What they're doing now is working on the Golden Eagle side down at the stream, and they're gonna work their way out. And so, once they do that, then they'll move over to the other side, and they have to start at the stream and work their way up and out. Once they get past where the stairs are gonna be built, then the carpenters will come in and construct that and redo the railings on the bridge. The stairs, he claims the stairs are gonna start somewhere around June 1st. We'll see how the weather is.
Yes, it is.
So
That's why he's
the weather has
skeptical.
been, it's just been terrible. And what happens is that the spec is you excavate down to virgin.
Yeah.
And when it rains, it's all mush. so you have to excavate down deeper. Because if you don't, then you're gonna have to do a compaction test. That puts you off another couple of days. So they've been over excavating, they've been just, their game plan now is just, and you have to grout all the joints on these mats. So the game plan has been fill it with stone, we don't care how much, just put it down, get the mats down and fill it with grout. And let's get at it. Hopefully, that tack.
And the state is inspecting and saying, okay,
There's when 90% of the time when they're doing this, there's an engineer on site.
And do we know how we're doing them as far as budget goes?
I do not.
budget is fine, we're within budget. Okay, we have about a $10,000 contingency.
All right, well, 3 project update.
Well, 3 is scheduled to start. I talked to Doug Johnston and I talked to Dan Tinkham of EGDI. It's supposed to start June 3rd. Doug is supposed to mobilize for them. The material to cap the well is supposed to be delivered that day, and so they'll get on it that week.
So will that section of the Mad River Trail be closed? Should we notify people of that?
There isn't going to be a whole lot, it's good to discuss it because I don't foresee a whole lot of construction traffic that would preclude anybody, because
But I would
they can come across on the lower side of the well and use the trail up the side of the.
I'm
the
just
other side.
concerned with equipment and open pits and stuff out there, with people out there hiking.
Yeah, well, we can't leave open holes. There'll only be one that will be fairly deep. There's an excavation that's will be all of 10 feet. That will be the only time that there'll ever be a large excavation that's open, and that would be during the day.
Should we notice the AIA and all these other groups that what's going to be going on out there? So people who are here for the weekend to hike might want to go somewhere else.
Probably a good idea.
Maybe you can mention at the AIA meeting.
Well, I have a question on that, so it's free for me to speak.
You can ask the question.
Okay, John Racine for the record.
We're not giving away right.
I thought at one time you were going to put a fence up and there was going to be a path along
When
the
it's
river
done.
we can hike through.
Right.
So it wouldn't be affected.
When the fence will be up as
The
part
last
of this work.
Yeah.
The fence is the last thing that goes in.
Right, so, but that won't really affect our trail
It doesn't.
along the river, so we can still hike through.
That's
That's
correct.
correct.
You will.
Okay,
But I'm just concerned with the construction equipment and kids running out there and people, I don't know what it's going to look like out there while they're doing it.
if there's a fence, is the fence pretty high?
Well, the fence will go in after to be a standard, I haven't seen the spec on it yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be a standard 8-foot chain link fence.
Kind of like around the pump houses.
We have a meeting Saturday, so I'm gonna report this to
Yeah.
the club and
I'd say there might be some disruptions.
look at
right
it,
now.
sure.
Thank you.
Can I add something to that, just to make you aware of something, is that we are doing a campfire this Friday night, and we can't do it at a regular spot, obviously, because the beach is torn up.
Yeah.
So the mountain is having us do it near the arbor, in that opening right near the pond. So we are gonna be using the Kubota to get to and from the fire. So just so you know, on Friday evening, you'll see that thing going around with transporting firewood and whatever the other things that we need for that fire. Just to be aware, because we can't go through the other way. I mean, it's just be unusual to see it going around on 10 o'clock at night.
I don't know if any of us are up at 10 o'clock. But thank you for.
You're welcome.
Okay. Road layout?
Did I mention this at the last meeting? We had all the discussions with property owners, that we were doing a quick claim deed trade-off. As we started writing the quitclaim deed, and the town attorney asked for descriptions. And we pointed out that that was the whole reason we were doing the quitclaim deeds, because we didn't have any really good descriptions of the right of way in any way, shape, or form. So he wasn't comfortable continuing on when we clarified that to him, as far as actually writing the quitclaim deeds. So he researched it, got back to me and said he'd rather that we use state law 231-27, which is road layout by the Board of Selectmen. And in this process, we have a plan that you agree we're gonna lay out the right of way for that highway, that street. And it's gonna be classified as a class 5 road, so it's town maintenance. And we're gonna record that plan. You're gonna vote on that and say, we wanna lay out this road. We're gonna record that plan. We're gonna provide a copy of that plan with a letter to the abutting property owners. And then they're gonna have 2 weeks to tell us that they feel that they are being injured by that layout. They have
We
to,
don't think I will.
no, all of them have agreed
Yeah.
that either we're giving them land or it's on the same
It's-
right of
It
way.
is so minimal.
It's very- So everybody's been in support of what we're doing, so there shouldn't be any legal issue. But once that's done, in that 2-week period after the recording has happened, where it is now officially the right of way, and the plan is recorded at the registry. So that's all it takes. So the engineer and the surveyor are working on that.
Hiring update, Public Works, Tim, what's going on?
We have 2, if not 3 people to talk with. 2 definitely on
For how many positions?
for the seasonal part-time
Okay, so
at this point.
we got three candidates, two,
2 for sure, maybe a third.
okay, right? And we hired the person for wastewater?
See, exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
the operator, the replacement for Greg has accepted. He will begin at the first week of July.
Okay, and we still have another candidate that we were talking to about that?
We're still working. We have not had an interview for that position yet.
And Rick,
Can I just clarify something? We have 3 people to interview. We have the temporary position, temporary replacement for Nate while he's
Right.
out. Then we
Yeah.
talked about a season or a regular part-timer
position.
to work up at the
Yeah.
transfer
Yeah.
station. So,
That's what I was asking.
so there's 2 positions
Two
that
part-time
we will
positions.
be talking to these 3 people about. Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Rich, do you want to talk about the welcome waterville sign at China?
Yeah, I'd like to propose, I think I've mentioned it earlier, to propose that we put a sign up that basically says, welcome to Waterville Valley down by the bridge. That people will recognize that from that point on, it's actually Waterville Valley. I noticed a lot of towns.
Yeah, Nick's getting the actual cost estimate of that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
So if you guys are.
I don't know, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
That have to be.
And what are we doing about the back side of our roof house?
Actually, we talked to the Forest Service about that, and they said that we can put, as long as the message is not a specific company, commercial name, they're good to go.
Okay. Should we have a contest or?
However you want to.
I don't know.
No,
What's-
I
what's-
don't.
what should we- I like what Frank Freeman said.
Yeah,
I forget what it was, but I liked it.
Why don't I've gotten a
Come
couple.
back, there's more to explore.
Yeah, something like that. And they said that we even can put the Forest Service logo on.
Yeah.
And they'd be happy to have us.
All right, so how much fun
So-
do we want to have with this for now?
I like that.
Right.
Come back, there's more to explore, and
I-
the forest logo and Waterville
Water-
Valley.
Thank you for
and all that
visiting
stuff.
Waterville Valley. Come back, there's more to explore with the Waterville logo and the Forest Service. That work?
Yes, we can get that done.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Seems
get
like a
some
lot for
mock-ups? Do you want to get some, well, it's a big
Why don't
piece
we,
Yeah.
of board.
That's true.
Why don't we
Like the
see-
letters to
would you
be
ask
sure.
Amy Schwartz to mock these up for us?
Sure, I could do that.
Did you get that catchphrase? Thank you for visiting, but come back, there's more to explore.
Yep. Thanks for visiting. So is that what we're going with?
I would think so.
Okay. I can do that.
Unless
She'd
someone
probably
has
love to do that.
How would you like to, do you want it illuminated?
No,
I mean, the front side of the sign is.
yeah, I don't think we need
People
it.
leave during the day.
And their headlights will catch it at night.
And really, yeah, I
No, I'm
don't
just,
think
for planning purposes.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking, let's,
the lighting would complicate it with the Forest Service. They agreed that we can paint on it and not have to go to them for any other permitting. I think if we changed the lighting and everything, that there would be issues.
What about there's always more to explore?
something like,
Yeah, something. like
Okay,
that.
thanks for visiting. There's always something more to, or something, whatever.
thanks for visiting.
Okay,
Please come back, there's always more to it.
okay. Do we want it in italics, kind of, like?
We'll
We'll
mock
get
something.
to that once.
Yeah, we'll
Well, I just want to
come
give
up
her
with
some
a couple.
general direction.
Well, it should match the front, the same print as the front, I would guess. And make it easy to read, but some people can't read cursive or italics.
Yeah, anyway, okay.
All right, thanks. All right, so we move to that. Let's go to calendar review. This meeting is the 12th. Everybody here? The planning board is on 13th. And the WVA graduation is May 31st at 1. At 1. Have we been invited to that or?
Well, we got notice of it. I'll find out if that was meant to be an invitation, but it came across like that. It just didn't say we are invited.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay.
So I will let them know that you know about it. I'll email you the invite information.
All right, correspondence. I think we should acknowledge, first of all, this lovely letter we received from Lois Dean.
I love that letter.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I think it really is well written, well thought out, and well executed.
Any
And I think
thoughts
it
back to
gives-
her?
It gives us some things to think about as far as going forward with how we can spend money in Waterville Valley and what the kids need. Maybe we would invite her or anyone else to come and address town meeting next year
Mm.
with their thoughts.
Okay.
Then we have the New Hampshire Environmental Service, the Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Compliance Sampling Inspection Division. I bet they-
Our sewer treatment plant
This
is
is
up
what
to
they have
snuff.
on their the logos of their shirts.
We are. Yeah, so all that means is our wastewater treatment plant is working for
Okay, we have,
kudos to Greg.
we also have some information from Primex,
Mm-hmm.
where we have Mark's recommendation on the information from Primex. And Mark's recommendation on this is to not take advantage of this proposal. Correct? As a reason to not take advantage of this proposal, to tie us into Primex. For years, where we've been recently getting competitive rates from other people that we see it. So I tend to side with Mark's recommendation. So you just table this one. And this something that is an RFP that we talked about with Jim.
Well, yeah, because we want to get this on the street and get the contractors.
Let's hijack, if I can, hijack that for a second. Rich, have you had a chance to meet with the library trustees?
I have not, I discussed it with Reggie and the other members of the
Historical Society.
Historical Society, and she would like to do that when she comes back next month.
That was actually, I won't use the word hostile, but stopped on the street by some library trustees. And
accosted me.
Well, I have to live with these. My question is, I think sooner than later, we should really try to find out what the deep reservation and concern about this is. Because my thought would be, then if we're gonna start doing work at the library, we want them to do it with anticipation. The thought going forward of that back wall and that area would be, taken down or be repurposed to some degree. It would make no sense to move. Is the oil tank on that back wall?
The oil tank is on the ski area side. The oil goes down.
Okay, but so it's not on the back wall. Right, but yeah, I think maybe if Mark can facilitate a meeting. No, it has to be done.
I agree. I think having them come in and have the discussion.
Because I think we could make a really nice campus there, especially when I love when I'm showing property to that and show people the library and explain to them next door, it's not to screw up and keep them in the second floor. And it gives a real sense of the history and the kind of community we still have. But let's try to get that.
Can we set it up as a workshop? So
Oh,
it's not
yeah,
part
of
of this? So do you want us, because the longer we hold off getting this on the street for the contractors.
Well, I think we're supposed to do it, but I think we just have to pay attention to what we're doing and give us options.
So this was done in conjunction with the trustees.
They all have copies.
They have a copy.
They gave me feedback.
So we're gonna put this out, advertise for bids, we're gonna take bids in to get the work done. We're gonna be pretty short, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So.
Because they're gonna have to come out and take a look at it.
Now, do they have to be quiet while they're there?
They're gonna be on the exterior.
In the town of Pool, was it 75,000?
Yeah.
For the
Yes.
project?
Mark, you do this?
Yeah, but I do have one more thing on tax warrant.
Yeah.
We actually printed, bills today, getting ready to send them out. This is based on a, total tax rate of $7.07, right? Tax rate for this half. That's half of the 14 from last year. Good job. Right on top of it. So if I could get your signatures on the warrant. If you have any questions, information is there.
All right, anything board concerns or directives, anything, Rich? Margaret?
And Margaret, this was from your meeting, for the last meeting, we voted to reappoint Jim and
Foundation work, insulation, total reside.
I. That's from the last meeting. I would like to take just a couple of minutes while Jim's here and non-public.
Okay. Is there anything else? Privilege of the floor number 2. Well, and I'd like to thank everyone for coming and contributing. It is 4:13, and I will make a motion to go into non-public.
Second that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, happy birthday.
The windows, how many windows?
Who accosted you?
I think that.
Are we off?